What a time to, I mean, Minnesota probably was happy to get out of Minnesota too, if we're being honest. I'm sure they're thrilled to get the fuck out and go start over. A little season restart. My God. Minnesota Wild. Wow. Like, legitimately a historically bad penalty kill. That last game, I could not believe it. This fucking... it was stunning. They stun me every game now. But at least we have Brock Faber, who's a great guy, great player, phenomenal player, actually. Thank God we got Brock Faber. Now we've got the top line, looks like the short king line. We got little fellas getting up there, buzzing around. Yeah, the short kings. But like that's about the as far as the excitement goes. I do now wonder though, with how bad it is getting, and just not only specifically the penalty kill at this point now, just the defense kind of in general, with how many chances they give up, with how many fucking goals they're giving up. I am now wondering. I really don't think Bill Gary would want to do it in the middle of the season. I don't think he wants to do it at all. I'm sure. How you have to think Dean's seat is hot because
warm.
They are taking so many steps backwards every fucking game. Like it's what is impressive to me is the fact that like they're finding new ways to be defensively heinous every game is unbelievable. Like it's so bad.
So here's my perspective though. Like I agree, Dean should be on the hot seat. I think Bill Guerin's going to do everything he can to dance around that. Oh, depleted roster. We've had injuries. We have to deal with the cap the buyouts, whatever. I also feel like for the first time, because I've long been critical of Dean not making changes, whatever. At least he's making changes. They aren't all great, but some of them have worked out. And I don't really see, aside from the abysmal penalty kill, like a lot of it's not glaringly a coaching issue. I wonder if he's lost the locker room in any sense, though, because then he's gone. Because that's like literally the biggest benefit he brought to the team, right? Is that he was like the player's coach. He got the best out of them. X's and O's may not have been there, but he could at least get the guys to play. And we're looking at our best players like Kirill Kaprizov. He's just a sad puppy every game. Like he looks bad. He looks bad.
Yeah. And again, I never know really. Well, there's very few situations where I like feel confident at all gauging like, oh, it seems like he's lost the room at this point. So maybe, the thing that, well, the beauty of Minnesota too, for a while there is like, realistically, he didn't really have to worry about the fucking locker room anyways, though. Like he had guys in there that ran it. And it was like, and that was the big thing in like, and not to, I do this every time really, but like in Boston when Bruce Cassidy, his first like 4 years or whatever, he was like, I don't have to do anything in the locker room because I have Zdeno Chara, Patrice Bergeron, Brad Martin. Like I got those guys run it, and I literally don't have to do anything. And even listen,
you know how many people just spit out their drinks as they listen to this because you compared the Wild locker room to Bergeron, Chara. Like, come on.
Well, well, no, okay. Well, if people want to be assholes about it, then they can do that. But it's just forever. It was just like they have a phenomenal locker room because the guys run the show. And like realistically, at that point, the coach just has to worry about the X's and O's. But now the X's and O's look fucking horrible. Specifically. And like, here's my big thing. I am at the point now where I just can't help but laugh anytime someone like wants to bring up an assistant coach not knowing how to run the penalty kill. At this point now, with how bad it is, bro, just don't like keep the fucking puck out of the net. That's the thing. That's where I'm at with it now. It's like it doesn't even like, oh, what are you gonna change the fucking strategy? Like,
well, no, but see, I am one that's super skeptical. Like, oh, that's assigned to an assistant. Like, that's the easiest scapegoat for Billy to be like, oh, it's not Dean's fault. Not Dean's fault.
Right. And yeah. And again, so like, as I sit here saying, like, you gotta think that the seat's hot or, like you said, warm at this point. At the same time, I'm sitting
It's
there like,
between hot and warm.
if you're a coach, like at what point are you just like, bro, just fucking, I don't know, do a job at all? Like, what are they, 60% on the on the penalty kill at this point?
Yeah, that's bad.
That's
man.
insane.
It's brutal.
Like,
Well,
no, if you are just letting in goals at well, and I mean, what was it, 2 shorthanded goals against 2 the other night, and what, 5 power play goals? Like,
yep.
at some point, if you're a player and you're killing a penalty, like, bro, like, there's not really a whole lot of coach that has to go into this, I feel like, at that point. So maybe I'm just
But okay,
it's so stunning that I have every possibility just running through my head. It's like, how the fuck does the puck just end up in the net every single fucking time they go to the PK?
I mean,
and
I'm outspoken against Dean, right? Like, I have long had my issues with him. But when you look at the team, right, break it down, remove the first line, which is obviously critical, right? And until late, like, they've looked okay since the shuffle, but generally speaking, the second line was going, regardless of who was on it, even when Pat Maroon was moved up there to fill the Boldy spot. Third line has been going most of the year. Fourth line, yeah, there's been of late some stupid plays by the Dewey twins, but like, by and large, they're playing good. If Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Zuccarello were playing good to start the season, we're not in the hole that we're currently in. And yes, maybe you can blame coaching to an extent, but like, at a certain point, you got to point at your stars and expect them to be fucking stars, right?
Right.
And yes, the penalty kill doesn't get saved by that. There's definitely been blunders on the blue line, but if you can score more goals or at least have more offensive possession and get something out of your top group, it's still different. That's the only argument I'll throw out in Dean's benefit, is that Kaprizov playing like shit is not a matter of Dean Evison being a good coach, because Kaprizov being incredible was not a matter of Dean Evison being a good coach, right? I just think it's like that, and goaltending. I'm sorry, like, goaltending has been bad this year. And we just saw that's why Woodcroft got fired. I think most people would say Woodcroft should still have a job with the Edmonton Oilers. He is a scapegoat because goaltending was brutal. Do you know how many games they let up 18 or less shots? It's a lot. And they are still losing these games. Like, come on. So I think that Dean should have been on the hot seat going into the summer. I'm not saying that he doesn't have his faults, but he's not the difference between your stars performing. That's my opinion.
Right. Yeah.
And he's in shambles right now, though, because he is like legitimately growing the mullet back out. You can see whenever he turns his head on the bench, like, there's a little fluff back there and it's just going. Last year, he was always clean cut. Something's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it's in, when I look at the coaching too, as like, how is like he has to be at this moment. It's the stuff like the fact that you score that goal to make it 2-1 against Dallas the other night, within what, 30 seconds, 3-1, immediately. And it's like, that's the shit where it's like, okay, at the very least, sometimes you have to look at like a coach and say, how the fuck are you guys just not ready to rock? Like, I mean, like, at some point.
But to what extent is it on the players for that? Like, yes, I'm not saying the coach is not blamed for it, but like, fuck, dude, you shouldn't need a good coach to not fucking blow that shit 30 seconds after you score. Like,
someone make a fucking play, just one.
Someone make
just like a single. That's how I coach. That's
Darby
me behind the bench.
Felt better. Darby Hendrickson, he is like, oh my god, my stomach. Oh, it's delightful.
Yeah, he can feel his arm. It's weird. He's like not wearing a bulletproof vest on the bench now.
He's going up to Monix.
Yeah,
punching the jejunum.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at the point now they just stun me every game now, and I think I said this last week too. Like, this has to be the first season in a very long time where, like, in years past, if the offense wasn't going, or like the years it was like guys like, I don't know, Kaprizov, Fiala, at one point, Parise. Like if they were the only guys going offensively, at the very least, that defense had always been a top 8D in the league, and they'd always have average to solid goaltending in terms of just like, so they were always at least in games.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yes, goaltending. I think goaltending in Kaprizov pretty much sums up what's happening, plus injuries, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's not to excuse what's happened because we still need to see more. But like, it's pretty sad that you can point and just say, "Yep, better goaltending and our all-star playing well." That's enough to not have us panicking.